At a demolition site, a worker fell from an elevated excavator bucket while cutting metal foundations from a building, landing hard on the ground. The worker had been positioned tens of feet above ground inside the bucket when the excavator arm suddenly shifted, destabilizing his position. This incident clearly demonstrates the extreme dangers of working in elevated positions on mobile equipment without proper fall protection. Workers must always use harnesses or other restraints when standing in buckets or similar platforms, and equipment must be stabilized before performing cutting or demolition tasks. Maintaining a secure footing and awareness of equipment movement is critical to preventing life-threatening falls. Inside an automotive shop, a worker was painfully struck twice by a wooden broom while sweeping the floor. The first time, the broom was accidentally run over by a car on standby and ricocheted, hitting the worker in the groin. Still reeling from the pain, the car ran over the broom a second time, and it ricocheted again, striking the worker in the face. This incident clearly demonstrates the hazards of working near vehicles without proper awareness or protective measures. Using personal protective equipment and establishing clear communication in busy shop areas is critical to preventing ricochet and struck-by injuries. During a landscaping job, a mini excavator nearly got destroyed when the ramp leading to a cargo bed failed. Additionally, the excavator was almost fully on the bed when the truck carrying it began moving forward, while the machine had not yet been fully secured. This incident clearly demonstrates the severe dangers of using unstable or improvised ramps and moving heavy equipment before it is properly secured. Spotters and clear communication are essential, and equipment should never be left partially loaded or unsecured while the transport vehicle is in motion. Inside an artisan workshop, a worker had his sweater sleeve caught in a running lathe, tearing the fabric and pulling it toward the rotating machine. Fortunately, a supervisor nearby quickly shut off the lathe, preventing further injury. This incident clearly demonstrates the serious hazards of wearing loose clothing near rotating machinery. Lathe operations require fitted clothing and avoidance of dangling sleeves, jewelry, or other items that can be caught in moving parts. Supervisors and operators must remain vigilant, and emergency stop mechanisms should always be within reach to quickly halt equipment in case of entanglement. Proper safety attire and awareness are critical to preventing severe injuries. At a shipyard, a supervisor was struck by a large forklift while it was maneuvering. The operator, having limited visibility and focused on the load he was transporting, accidentally collided with the supervisor during transport. Fortunately, nearby workers saw the incident and immediately attended to him, preventing further harm. This incident clearly demonstrates the dangers of moving heavy loads with forklifts in areas where personnel are present. Operators must maintain full visibility, follow designated travel paths, and ensure all personnel are clear before moving loads. Spotters and communication protocols are essential in busy shipyard environments to prevent struck-by injuries and collisions with bystanders. At the back of a furniture store, a worker nearly fell off the edge of a container truck head first while transporting wooden boxes. As he attempted to lift a box, a plank unexpectedly came loose, throwing him off balance. He was briefly suspended by the fallen plank pressing against his legs until co-workers rushed in to assist him. This incident clearly demonstrates the hazards of handling unstable or damaged loads on elevated surfaces. Maintaining secure footing, using team lifts when necessary, and having co-workers nearby for assistance are critical to preventing falls and crushing injuries. In a container yard, two workers who were busy conducting a transport load slipped and fell to the ground after stepping off the edge of a truck bed. Both had been working on top of the vehicle and lost their footing consecutively, resulting in minor impact injuries from the fall. This incident clearly demonstrates the dangers of working at height without stable access points, and more importantly, non-awareness of space. Workers must maintain awareness of footing at all times. Establishing safe procedures for entering and exiting truck beds is essential to prevent slips, trips, and falls. Outside a storage facility, a worker was knocked unconscious when a cable connected to the front of a container van snapped under tension. The worker had been standing to the side of the cargo truck when the tightly stretched cable suddenly released, striking him and knocking him to the ground. This incident clearly demonstrates the extreme dangers of standing near tension cables and rigging under load. Cables under tension can store enormous energy and release it suddenly, causing life-threatening injuries. Workers must maintain safe distances from all rigging and secured loads, regularly inspect cables for wear or damage, and follow proper procedures to release tension safely. At the back of a large grocery store, a forklift operator was struck in the face when a shelf bar hit him as he attempted to pull a box of beverages from underneath. The operator had properly secured the forks, but failed to notice that the forklift's overhead guard had caught on the shelf, causing the bar to swing out as he backed out. This incident clearly demonstrates the hazards of insufficient clearance awareness when operating forklifts near low-hanging structures. Operators must always check for overhead obstructions and ensure that all parts of the forklift, including the guard and mast, have enough clearance before moving. At a construction site, a worker fell from a raised platform after being thrown backward while pulling a metal pipe. The worker had been using only his back to pull the pipe toward him and was not holding on to any other support when the sudden force caused him to lose balance and fall. This incident clearly demonstrates the dangers of handling heavy materials without proper body positioning or anchorage. Workers must use mechanical assistance, proper lifting techniques, or secure handholds when pulling or maneuvering heavy pipes. Maintaining a stable footing and using team lifts or rigging equipment are essential to prevent falls and crush injuries on elevated platforms. At a pipe renovation project, a worker was struck in the head and sustained a finger injury when a hand grinder ricocheted unexpectedly while cutting a metal pipe. The grinder bounced back from the material, catching him off guard during operation. This incident clearly demonstrates the dangers of using power tools without proper control and personal protective equipment. Hand grinders can kick back violently if not handled correctly or if the material binds. Workers must maintain a firm grip, use both hands, and wear full protective gear, including a face shield, gloves, and eye protection. Proper positioning and awareness of kickback zones are essential to prevent severe injuries. At a building construction site, a worker was pinned and severely injured when a rogue load carried by an overhead crane struck him from behind and forced him onto a forklift. The impact caused him to fall to the ground, having broken his spine. This incident clearly demonstrates the extreme dangers of uncontrolled or unsecured loads during crane operations. All suspended materials must be properly rigged, and workers must stay clear of the path of overhead loads. Spotters, exclusion zones, and strict communication protocols are essential to prevent struck-by incidents that can result in life-altering injuries.